Butter, a golden spread that has been a staple in kitchens for centuries. From flaky croissants to sizzling pans, its rich flavor and smooth texture have made it one of the world's most beloved dairy products. But have you ever wondered how factories manage to produce tons of butter every single day while keeping it fresh, safe, and perfectly creamy? Today, we'll go inside a modern butter factory to uncover the fascinating journey, from raw milk to the neatly packaged blocks you see in stores. Before we dive deeper into the fascinating journey of how tons of butter are made, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way you'll never miss any of our behind-the-scenes looks at how your favorite foods are created. Now, let's begin. Butter has been a part of human diets for over 4,000 years. The earliest records trace back to ancient Mesopotamia and India, where people discovered that shaking or churning cream separated fat from liquid, producing a rich and spreadable food. In medieval Europe, butter was so valuable it was often used as a form of tribute or trade, and monasteries became known for perfecting its production. By the 19th century, with the rise of industrialization, butter production shifted from small farms to mechanized creameries, making it more widely available. Today, modern factories produce thousands of tons of butter daily, combining traditional techniques with advanced technology, ensuring both safety and flavor for consumers around the world. The process begins not in the factory, but on dairy farms. Every day, hundreds of cows are milked, and their fresh milk is immediately cooled to about 4 degrees Celsius to prevent bacterial growth. Special insulated tanker trucks transport the milk to the factory. Upon arrival, the milk is tested for purity, fat content, and freshness. Any batch that doesn't meet strict quality standards is rejected. The butter-making process requires high-fat cream, so the milk first undergoes separation. At the heart of butter production is the separation of cream from milk. This is done using a machine called a centrifugal cream separator. Inside, the milk is spun at high speed, thousands of revolutions per minute. The heavier skim milk is pushed outward, while the lighter cream collects in the center. The cream extracted here typically contains 35 to 40% milk fat, the ideal starting point for butter. The skim milk isn't wasted. It's sent off to be used in products like cheese, yogurt, or powdered milk. To make the cream safe and extend its shelf life, it is pasteurized. This involves heating the cream to about 85 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds before quickly cooling it down. Pasteurization eliminates harmful bacteria while preserving the cream's natural flavor. It also prepares the fat globules for the transformation into butter. In many butter factories, especially those producing cultured butter, the cream is left to age in large stainless steel tanks. Beneficial lactic acid bacteria are sometimes added to give the butter a slightly tangy flavor and improve texture. The cream rests for 12 to 24 hours, thickening slightly and developing its signature aroma. Now comes the step most people associate with butter: churning. In the factory, massive continuous churn machines handle thousands of liters of cream at a time. The cream is agitated vigorously, breaking the protective membrane around the fat globules. As the fat globules collide and stick together, they form butter grains, while the liquid left behind becomes buttermilk. The sight is dramatic. Within minutes, the cream separates into golden clumps of butter floating in a milky liquid. The fresh butter grains are now drained of buttermilk. This liquid is collected and processed separately, often sold as a refreshing drink or used in baking. The butter grains, however, are not yet ready. They still contain too much liquid, and the texture needs refining. The butter grains are transferred into large butter workers, machines with rotating paddles. Here, the butter is kneaded to press out remaining buttermilk and achieve a smooth, uniform consistency. Salt may be added at this stage depending on the type of butter being produced. Salted butter lasts longer and has a distinctive flavor, while unsalted butter is prized by bakers for its neutral profile. Before packaging, the butter undergoes strict quality control checks. Technicians test for moisture content to meet legal standards, salt level, texture and color consistency, microbiological safety. Only butter that meets every requirement continues down the production line. Once approved, the butter is automatically portioned and wrapped. High-speed machines cut the butter into blocks, sticks, or tubs, depending on market demand. Foil wrapping or parchment paper protects the butter from light and air, preventing spoilage. Each package is stamped with a production code and expiration date before being boxed for shipment. Bookmark HQ. Butter is highly perishable, so it must be stored and transported under controlled conditions. Factories maintain storage rooms at 2 to 4 degrees Celsius to keep the butter fresh. Refrigerated trucks then deliver the butter to supermarkets, bakeries, and restaurants worldwide. From farm to fridge, the entire process is carefully timed to ensure that the butter remains safe and delicious. Factories don't let anything go to waste. Buttermilk is bottled as a beverage or dried into powder. Skim milk goes into cheese or yogurt production. Modern plants recycle water and energy, making butter production more sustainable. Some factories even use biogas from dairy waste to power their operations. If you enjoyed this look inside the butter factory, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll always know when we release a new video. Thanks for watching. Wool, one of the oldest fibers known to humanity, has clothed us for thousands of years. But today, the humble fleece is no longer just a product of quaint shepherding. It's a massive global industry, with over 1.2 billion kilograms of raw wool produced annually across millions of sheep. From vast ranches in Australia and New Zealand to cutting-edge processing mills in Europe and Asia, the modern wool industry is a fascinating blend of nature and high-tech innovation. So, how does wool go from a sheep's back to the world's wardrobes? How are millions of fleeces handled, sorted, cleaned, spun, and woven, all at industrial scale? Today, we take you inside the modern wool industry to uncover the step-by-step process of mass-producing wool, from the farm to the final fabric. It all begins on sprawling sheep farms, or stations, that can span thousands of acres. In countries like Australia, New Zealand, China, and Argentina, sheep are bred specifically for their wool, not just meat. One of the most prized breeds is the merino sheep, renowned for its ultra-fine wool fibers, often measuring below 20 microns, thinner than human hair. Farmers carefully manage flocks, ensuring optimal nutrition, genetics, and health to maximize fleece quality. In some large stations, thousands of sheep are herded by ATVs, drones, and sheepdogs to centralized shearing facilities. Wool growth depends on the season, climate, and breed, and sheep are typically shorn once a year. Each fleece weighs about 4 to 8 kilograms, with the finest wool growing around the shoulders and sides. The timing is critical. Shearing often occurs in spring, before summer heat, and just after lambing to reduce stress. And while it may seem rough, modern shearing techniques prioritize animal welfare. Shearers are trained to handle sheep safely and shear with electric clippers, not blades. In top facilities, a skilled shearer can clip over 150 sheep a day. The fleece is removed in one piece, keeping the structure intact. This blanket of wool is then tossed onto a skirting table, where it's quickly inspected. Once the fleece is shorn, it undergoes the first stage of sorting, known as skirting. Dirty or low-quality sections from the belly, legs, and hindquarters are removed as they contain more vegetable matter, sweat, and contaminants. The remaining fleece is then graded based on several factors: fiber diameter, measured in microns, staple length, strength and elasticity, color and crimp, natural waviness, Finer fibers are destined for high-end garments like suits or base layers. Coarser grades may go to blankets, upholstery, or insulation. Each grade is weighed, labeled, and packed into hydraulic wool presses, creating dense bales weighing 180 to 200 kilograms. These bales are barcoded and cataloged for traceability. In major wool-producing regions, these bales are sent to centralized wool auctions or directly exported to scouring mills. Some countries like Australia operate massive weekly auctions, where hundreds of bales change hands between brokers and manufacturers around the world. Raw wool is greasy, loaded with natural oils like lanolin, sweat, dirt, and debris. Before it can be spun, it must be thoroughly washed in a process called scouring. At industrial scouring plants, massive machines process tons of wool per hour. The bales are first opened, teased apart, and fed into a series of long scouring bowls, essentially massive washing machines. Here's how it works. Hot water and detergent remove dirt, suet, sweat salts, and wool grease. The wool passes through multiple rinse cycles, gradually getting cleaner. Spinning extractors remove excess water between each stage. Finally, the wool is dried in large hot air dryers, reducing moisture to just a few percent. The result? Clean, fluffy, scoured wool ready for further processing. But there's more. Lanolin, a valuable byproduct, is extracted from the wastewater and refined for use in cosmetics, ointments, and lubricants. Scouring efficiency and water recycling are also crucial for sustainability. Many modern mills now reclaim over 80% of their water. Now clean and dry, the wool moves to the carding process. Carding disentangles and aligns the fibers using rotating drums with fine wire teeth. This step transforms raw wool into a soft, continuous web called a sliver. Carding also removes remaining short fibers and impurities. Next is combing, an optional but important process for finer yarns. Combing pulls fibers into parallel alignment and removes any remaining short or tangled strands, creating a smoother and more uniform sliver. Depending on the desired final product, wool from different grades, breeds, or even countries may be blended. For instance, Australian Merino might be blended with stronger wools for durability or with synthetic fibers for elasticity. Color can also be added at this stage via pre-dyeing, especially for heathered or melange yarns. By the end of this phase, the wool is clean, aligned, and ready to be spun into yarn, either for knitting, weaving, or felt production. The art of spinning has come a long way since ancient spindles. Today, automated spinning frames transform carded wool into yarn with remarkable speed and precision. There are two main spinning systems. Worsted spinning, used for long, fine fibers, producing smooth, tight yarns ideal for suits and fine apparel. Woolen spinning, for shorter fibers, creating softer, loftier yarns used in sweaters and blankets. The slivers are first drawn out, making the fiber stream thinner and more uniform. Then, spinning machines twist the fibers together at high speed, locking them into continuous threads of yarn. The level of twist controls the yarn's strength and texture. High twist for durability, lower twist for softness. Next, plying combines two or more yarns together, improving strength and balance. Finally, yarns may be steamed or relaxed to set the twist. These yarns are then wound into cones or skeins, labeled by weight, fiber content, and lot number. Modern spinning facilities can produce hundreds of tons of yarn per month, supplying fabric mills, knitting factories, or direct-to-consumer brands. Depending on the intended product, wool may be dyed either before or after spinning. Fiber dyeing produces rich, consistent colors, used for tweeds or melange fabrics. Yarn dyeing, ideal for patterns like plaids or stripes. Piece dyeing applies color after the fabric is woven or knitted, common for solid-colored garments. In high-volume dyeing facilities, yarn or fabric is submerged in large pressurized dye vats, where heat, agitation, and chemical fixers ensure even absorption and color fastness. After dyeing, wool goes through finishing processes, such as fulling, controlled felting for denser fabrics. Crabbing sets the fabric structure. Raising and shearing lifts surface fibers for softness, then trims them for smoothness. Wool is then woven or knitted into fabric using industrial looms or knitting machines. These processes vary by end use: woven wool for suits, coats, and upholstery; knitted wool for sweaters, scarves, and socks; felted wool for insulation, footwear, and crafts. Once the fabric is finished, it's cut, sewn, and labeled. ready to become part of a winter coat, a cozy blanket, or a luxury scarf. From windswept pastures to precision spindles, the story of wool is one of remarkable transformation and timeless value. Millions of sheep produce billions of pounds of wool each year, but through innovation and care, the industry ensures that each fiber tells a story of nature, tradition, and modern science working in harmony. Next time you put on a wool sweater or wrap yourself in a warm blanket, remember, you're not just wearing a fabric, you're wearing a legacy. One that began on the back of a sheep and traveled through an incredible global journey. This is the amazing modern wool industry, where old meets new, and the past is spun into the future. This is Michael, a cow so prized that he has his own security guard. He's not just any cow, he's Wagyu. And in the world of premium beef, Wagyu isn't just meat, it's an experience, a symbol of perfection, a work of edible art. But what makes Wagyu so special? Why are people willing to pay thousands of dollars for just one steak? And what goes into raising a single cow that can be worth more than a luxury car? In this documentary, we'll trace the journey of Wagyu from the lush farms of Kobe, Japan, to the dazzling plates of Michelin-starred restaurants. You'll witness its life from birth to butchering, from the auction floor to the final bite. But first, let's clear up a common misconception. All Kobe beef is Wagyu, but not all Wagyu is Kobe beef. Wagyu simply means Japanese cow. But Kobe beef? That's a certified region-specific subset, just like champagne is to sparkling wine. Kobe beef comes exclusively from Tajima strain cattle, born, raised, and slaughtered in Hyogo Prefecture under exacting standards. Think of it this way. Wagyu is your high-end sports car. Kobe is the limited edition Ferrari with hand-stitched leather interiors. What truly sets Wagyu apart is marbling, the intricate webs of intramuscular fat that melt at low temperatures, giving the beef a buttery texture and unmatched umami flavor. It's the result of selective breeding, controlled feeding, and meticulous care. In the next hour, you'll step into the world of Wagyu ranchers, auctioneers, butchers, and master chefs. You'll see calves in their first days of life, cows fed on sake mash and spring water, and the slicing of a steak worth $30,000. This isn't just about meat, it's about legacy, about craftsmanship, about how Japan took something as humble as beef and turned it into a global luxury. Welcome to the world of Wagyu, a world where flavor begins not in the kitchen, but in the barn. Our journey begins in the peaceful countryside of Kobe, Japan. Here, tucked away in the hills, lie farms unlike any other, places where every detail is meticulously cared for and every animal is raised with intention. This is where Wagyu cattle are born. We meet Usunaga-san, a third-generation Wagyu farmer and one of the most respected breeders in the country. When he began, he had just 50 cows. Today, his farm is home to over 500 head of cattle, and each one is treated with almost reverential care. Inside one of the barns, the air is still, and the straw bedding is fresh. Rows of small stalls house the youngest members of the Wagyu lineage, newborn calves, just days old. Each calf is bundled in a custom-made jacket to keep it warm during the colder months. These are the baby babies, as Usunaga affectionately calls them. The calves weigh only 25 to 30 kilograms at birth, about the size of a large dog, but they grow fast. They gain about 1 kilogram per day, he explains. In just 3 to 4 months, they'll be 10 times their current weight. That's nearly 10 times faster than a human baby. But growth is only one part of the equation. What matters more is how they grow. Wagyu cattle are not left to roam freely like typical pasture-raised cows. Their movement is intentionally limited, not to restrict them, but to reduce muscle tension. Less muscle means more fat. More fat means more marbling. Every calf is also monitored individually. Their feeding schedules, health records, and growth rates are tracked daily. Nothing is left to chance. Each one has a numbered yellow tag clipped to its ear, a 10-digit code that can trace the cow's entire life story. When it was born, where it was raised, who raised it, and how it was fed. It's this level of detail that forms the backbone of the Wagyu industry. In Japan, this isn't just farming, it's legacy building. Usunaga leads us to the next barn, where the teenagers live, cattle aged between 1 to 3 years. Their size is astonishing. 1-year-olds already dwarf the average adult human. And by the time they reach maturity, many weigh upwards of 700 kilograms, or over 1,500 pounds. Some have even reached 950 kilograms, nearly a metric ton of living, breathing Wagyu. As we walk past, the cows raise their heads in unison. They're calm, curious, and completely unbothered by our presence. They have personalities, Musunaga says. They get excited when they smell someone new. Despite popular myths, Wagyu cows are not massaged daily or made to listen to Mozart around the clock. It's mostly exaggeration, Musunaga laughs. But what is true is that the environment matters. The cows are raised in peace, away from stress. That's the secret. And perhaps it is. Calm cows produce tender meat, less adrenaline, less tension, more fat. It's basic biology applied with obsessive precision. The water they drink, sourced from local mountain springs, so pure it's bottled for human consumption. They drink better water than most people, Musunaga jokes. In the world of Wagyu, nothing is ordinary. From the moment these calves take their first breath, their path is carefully shaped toward excellence, toward value, and ultimately, toward history. They are born not just to grow, but to become something greater. You are what you eat, and for Wagyu cattle, what they eat is nothing short of gourmet. Back on Musunaga-san's farm, we step into a feeding barn where the air is thick with the scent of fermentation, sweet, sour, and earthy all at once. It's here that the secret to Wagyu's world-famous marbling begins to take shape. Wagyu cattle are not fed like regular cows. Their diet is a carefully engineered formula designed to encourage the development of intramuscular fat, those beautiful white webs of marbling that make Wagyu so tender and flavorful. Each cow consumes around 8 kilograms of feed per day, and that feed is unlike anything you'd find on a typical farm. The core of the diet includes grains such as corn, barley, and wheat, rice bran, which adds texture and energy, soybean meal for protein, and then comes the unique part, alcohol byproducts. Yes, these cows enjoy the leftovers from Japan's most iconic beverages. From sake lees to beer mash to even traces of whiskey and mirin, the feed is blended to enhance digestion, increase appetite, and create the subtle nutty sweetness in the final flavor of the beef. These ingredients are fermented to improve gut health and keep the cattle eating happily. But don't be misled, these cows are not getting drunk. The alcohol is fermented and cooked off, Musunaga explains. If you gave them too much, they'd fall asleep, he chuckles. But we've never had drunk cows here. Instead, the goal is to encourage calm, consistent feeding. Wagyu cattle spend most of their lives in a low-stress environment where their full-time job is simply to eat and rest. Every day. For years. This limited movement, combined with a high-calorie diet, leads to steady fat deposition inside the muscles, instead of on the surface or around the organs like other cattle breeds. The result? That signature Wagyu marbling, the hallmark of luxury beef. Even the water plays a role. Wagyu are given fresh natural spring water, clean, mineral-rich, and cool. The same water humans in the region drink. It sounds excessive, but every element of the environment is part of the equation. Feeding continues over several phases. The first year is focused on basic growth. After that, the cows enter the fattening phase, which can last up to 600 days, almost double the time taken to raise regular cattle. Musunaga shows us how feed is mixed on site, with a giant machine that blends all the ingredients into soft, warm piles of nutrient-dense food. The scent is surprisingly pleasant, a mix of sweet molasses, grains, and something almost fruity. Like fig Newtons and raisins, one visitor remarks. The cows gather around patiently, chewing slowly and deliberately. There's no rush here, no noise, just quiet chewing, the occasional grunt, and the gentle hum of fans overhead. It's in this setting, quiet, consistent, almost meditative, that Wagyu cattle do what they were born to do: gain weight, build marbling, and grow into culinary legends. For Musunaga and others like him, the feeding process is both science and art. We don't just feed the cows, he says, we cultivate the flavor. And it's a flavor unlike any other in the world. Raising Wagyu is one thing, recognizing greatness is another. On the farm, surrounded by hundreds of nearly identical black-coated giants, Musunaga-san stops and points to a specific cow. That one, he says. That one will be special. But how can he tell? There's no computer, no scanner, no DNA test, just his trained eye and decades of experience. Usanaga walks around the cow, paying special attention to the back. The sirloin area, he explains, tells you a lot. A well-developed loin with width, firmness, and a certain curve suggests high intramuscular fat. Not all cows, even among purebred Wagyu, will develop that signature marbling. Spotting potential early is key. Weight also matters. On average, a full-grown Tajima Wagyu, the bloodline behind Kobe beef, can reach 700 kilograms, over 1,500 pounds. But the true champions have gone as high as 950 kilograms. Still, it's not just about mass, it's about proportion. Bone structure, muscle tone, posture, even behavior. Usanaga gently guides one of his cows with a lead rope. It doesn't pull or resist, it follows calmly. Temperament plays a role too, he says. Stress affects marbling. In the world of Wagyu, where perfection is measured in delicate threads of fat, the difference between good and legendary often starts long before the animal reaches the butcher. It starts here, with a glance, a gut feeling, and a lifetime of intuition. This is not guesswork, this is craft. From the quiet pastures, the journey now moves to one of the most exclusive markets in the world, the Wagyu auction house. Located in the heart of Hyogo Prefecture, this facility is not open to the public. Only certified buyers, brokers, and specialists are allowed inside. To enter, you must be invited and connected. We're guided in by Yamamoto-san, a seasoned buyer with decades of experience. Every day, he says, hundreds of Wagyu are sold here. Some fetch prices that rival sports cars. The room is a mix of tradition and high technology. Buyers sit behind keypads, ready to place silent electronic bids in a system as fast as it is fierce. But what are they bidding on? Not live cattle, but carcasses. The cows have already been slaughtered and carefully cleaned. Now, each carcass is displayed, cut in half, revealing the cross-section of marbled beef. It's a visual feast for experts. Two main criteria determine value. Yield grade A, high, B, average, or C, low. Marbling score 1, poor to 5, exceptional. The Holy Grail, A5, the absolute best of the best. Each carcass has stamps, tags, and certifications to prove its origin, lineage, and quality. One particular cow stands out. It has everything: size, symmetry, and dazzling marbling. This is the reward cow, the highest-rated Wagyu of the day. Only one wins this title each auction. The bidding escalates quickly. 1 million yen, 2 million, 3 million, finally sold. Behind every winning bid is not just a transaction, but a celebration of craftsmanship. And for that cow, the next chapter is just beginning. The prized cow has been sold, but its journey is far from over. Now, it enters the hands of a master craftsman, the butcher, or as many call him, the meat artist. In a temperature-controlled room that feels more like a laboratory than a butcher shop, precision is everything. The butcher wears multiple layers of hygienic clothing. His tools are surgical, his movements rehearsed. Before cutting, he studies the carcass. Each line of marbling, each muscle contour, tells him where to begin. He starts by trimming the thick outer fat, revealing the glowing white and red mosaic beneath. From there, he isolates premium cuts, tenderloin, ribeye, sirloin, preserving as much marbling as possible. But this isn't just about portioning, it's about presentation. The butcher uses Wagyu fat to shape the cuts, arranging them like flower petals. Each platter looks more like an art installation than raw meat. Nothing is wasted. Every cut, no matter how small, is handled with care. For Wagyu, every gram has value. This is not just processing, it's honoring. A tribute to the animal, the farmer, and the centuries of craft that made it possible. From the butcher's table, Wagyu now enters its final and most spectacular stage, the kitchen. At Wagyu Mafia, an exclusive members-only restaurant in Tokyo, Chef Hama, known as the Prince of Kobe beef, prepares 3 extraordinary dishes. First, Wagyu sushi. Thin slices of raw A5 Kobe beef are placed gently atop rice seasoned with sake. Topped with sea urchin, caviar, and brushed with aged soy sauce, it's a one-bite explosion of umami. Second, yakiniku, grilled beef tongue. A rare delicacy cut with surgical precision, scored for texture, and grilled over Japanese charcoal. Finished with only a pinch of salt, it's smoky, tender, and impossibly flavorful. Finally, the katsu sando, a thick Kobe beef tenderloin worth over $3,000, is breaded with Japanese milk breadcrumbs, flash-fried to golden perfection, and placed between slices of pillowy milk bread. Trimmed, sliced, and served like treasure. Each dish showcases a different expression of Wagyu's greatness: raw delicacy, grilled richness, fried indulgence. Every bite is a reminder. This is not just food. This is history, craft, and culture on a plate. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes journey from farm to fine dining, hit that subscribe button to explore more stories like this, where craftsmanship meets culture, and where food tells a deeper story. For any Subway sandwich, the story begins long before it reaches your hands. Before the meats, the cheese, the veggies, there's the bread. Warm, fragrant, freshly baked. It's the foundation of the brand, and perhaps the most important ingredient of all. Subway's bread isn't just a vessel, it's a signature. Whether it's Italian, hearty multigrain honey oat, or roasted garlic, each variety has a carefully calibrated recipe. But to make bread at a global scale, served fresh in over 100 countries, Subway had to build a supply system that blends tradition with technology. It all starts in the wheat fields of North America. Subway's flour is sourced primarily from the US and Canada, where high-protein wheat varieties are grown in nutrient-rich soil. This wheat is essential, not just for nutrition, but for structure. High-protein flour helps develop the gluten that gives Subway bread its signature texture. Soft on the inside, slightly crisp on the crust. Once harvested, the wheat is cleaned, milled, and processed in food-grade facilities, transforming golden kernels into fine, baking-quality flour. From here, the flour heads to one of Subway's regional commissaries, centralized kitchens that prepare dough in batches for hundreds, sometimes thousands of stores. Here's where the science begins. Dough isn't just mixed, it's engineered. Using automated mixers, the commissary combines flour, water, sugar, yeast, oil, and seasoning into precisely portioned batches. Each dough type has its own hydration ratio, mixing time, and resting phase. The goal? Consistency. From New York to Nairobi, every loaf of Italian bread must taste the same. After mixing, the dough is divided into long strips, each one forming the base of either a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich. These strips are flash frozen immediately to preserve freshness and lock in yeast activity. Freezing dough at this stage helps Subway solve one of its biggest challenges: delivering fresh bread daily without baking at a central location. The frozen dough is then packaged and shipped in cold trucks to every Subway location, usually arriving once or twice a week, depending on the store's size and volume. Inside the store, the magic continues. Each morning, team members remove frozen dough from storage and let it thaw in a climate-controlled cabinet called a proofer. The proofer warms the dough slowly, allowing the yeast to activate, the gluten to stretch, and the texture to develop. After proofing, the dough is carefully rolled and placed into baking molds. These molds go straight into Subway's convection ovens, which bake the bread at a controlled temperature, typically between 330 and 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for just under 20 minutes. The result is unmistakable: a golden crust, a soft interior, and that iconic fresh bread aroma that fills the store every morning. And it's not just about taste. Subway's baking process is designed for freshness and flexibility. Stores bake in small batches throughout the day, reducing waste and ensuring that bread is never more than a few hours old. If you walk into a store at 2 p.m. or 8 p.m., your sandwich is made on bread baked the very same day. Even the shape matters. Subway's signature oblong roll isn't just for aesthetics. It's functional. It holds toppings evenly, prevents overflow, and allows for clean, even slicing. What seems simple on the surface, a loaf of sandwich bread, is in fact a product of agricultural expertise, cold chain logistics, precision baking, and decades of refinement. Because at Subway, bread isn't just where the sandwich begins. It's where the promise of eat fresh begins too. If the bread is the heart of a Subway sandwich, the vegetables are its soul. Vibrant greens, juicy tomatoes, crisp cucumbers, onions with just the right bite. At Subway, freshness isn't just a slogan. It's a system. And that system begins long before the cutting board. Subway sources millions of pounds of produce every year, and with over 37,000 restaurants in more than 100 countries, the challenge is immense. How do you deliver fresh, flavorful vegetables to every location, every day? The answer lies in a blend of global coordination and local execution. Let's start with lettuce, the most used vegetable in Subway stores. The primary variety is iceberg lettuce, known for its crunch and mild flavor. Most of Subway's lettuce in North America comes from farms in California and Arizona, states with ideal growing climates and sophisticated irrigation systems. In other regions, lettuce is sourced locally to minimize transport time and support domestic agriculture. After harvest, the lettuce is cooled rapidly, then shredded, triple washed, and packaged in high-humidity, breathable bags. These bags help maintain freshness without the use of preservatives. From the field to the store, the lettuce stays cold, typically between 34 and 38 degrees Fahrenheit, throughout its entire journey. The same care applies to other Subway staples. Tomatoes are hand-picked at peak ripeness and sliced just before service to maintain flavor and juiciness. Cucumbers are delivered whole and sliced in store daily for crispness. Green peppers and red onions are shipped fresh and hand-cut each morning. All vegetables are delivered through a just-in-time inventory model, meaning stores receive produce multiple times per week, sometimes daily, depending on demand. This keeps ingredients turning over quickly and ensures that nothing sits for long. Behind the scenes, Subway uses predictive algorithms and historical sales data to forecast how much produce each location will need. This reduces overstocking, limits waste, and ensures every tomato slice you bite into is as fresh as the one before it. Inside the store, morning prep begins hours before the first sandwich is served. Team members unpack the produce, inspect for quality, and begin washing, slicing, and storing everything in color-coded bins. Each vegetable has a designated spot in the sandwich station, a cold table that keeps items at safe serving temperatures throughout the day. The prep process is as much about precision as it is about presentation. Slices are measured, lettuce is fluffed, onions are layered for even distribution, and every item is kept chilled until the moment it reaches your sandwich. But freshness isn't just about temperature, it's about time. Subway follows a strict prep today, serve today rule for nearly all its vegetables. Anything left over by closing time is discarded or composted, never carried over to the next day. This commitment ensures that what you see in the counter and what ends up in your sandwich is always at peak quality. And for customers with unique preferences, customization is the norm, not the exception. No onions, extra pickles, light spinach, heavy cucumbers. Subway's open kitchen design makes it easy to build your sandwich exactly how you like it, in real time, with real ingredients, handled with care. In an industry where many chains rely on prepackaged mixes and frozen blends, Subway stands apart by keeping it fresh, simple, and customizable. Because at the end of the day, freshness isn't a claim, it's a commitment, and nowhere is that more visible than in the crisp colors and clean crunch of a perfectly built Subway sub. Behind every great sandwich is a great protein, whether it's thin-sliced turkey, juicy steak, savory meatballs, or a plant-based alternative. At Subway, proteins are more than just a topping, they're the center of flavor, and bringing them to your sandwich line hot, cold, or toasted takes a global supply system running with precision. Subway's protein lineup is diverse. It includes deli-style meats like ham, turkey, roast beef, and salami, cooked proteins like meatballs, grilled chicken, and steak, bacon and pepperoni for extra flavor, and increasingly plant-based proteins like veggie patties and alternative meats, tailored to different dietary needs around the world. So how do these ingredients get from farms and facilities to your sandwich? Safe, consistent, and full of flavor. It begins with responsible sourcing. Subway partners with approved meat suppliers who follow strict standards around food safety, traceability, and animal welfare. In many regions, that includes commitments to antibiotic-free livestock, no added hormones, and compliance with global certifications like Global GP and SQF, safe quality food. Let's take turkey, one of Subway's most popular proteins. In North America, turkey breast is cooked in bulk at regional facilities using steam ovens that preserve moisture without added fats. After cooking, the meat is chilled, sliced ultra-thin, and vacuum sealed to maintain texture and flavor. It's then flash frozen and distributed to local Subway stores through refrigerated supply chains. At the store level, the turkey is thawed in cold storage, loaded into clean prep bins, and served cold, or toasted on request, in sandwiches, wraps, or salads. Then there's Subway's steak, a tender marinated cut that's used in the fan-favorite Philly-style subs. The beef is pre-cooked and pre-seasoned in large batches at certified meat kitchens, where spices, soy sauce, and natural flavors are added during the marination process. The cooked beef is packaged in vacuum-sealed bags, chilled, and delivered to stores, where it's reheated quickly on demand. In contrast, proteins like meatballs and grilled chicken strips are delivered pre-cooked and frozen. They're stored in freezers at the store and heated in batches, using programmable microwaves and hot holding trays.